Project Helius's long-running game in development, Operation Lovecraft Fallen Doll, has been years in the making. It first appeared as Fallen Doll, but after a survey of players, the decision was made to ditch the original concept and change the game entirely to include Lovecraftian type beasts and alien beings. For the record, Operation Lovecraft is for mature audiences. There is really not much here for anyone else just yet. However, it is this fact, alongside the lengthy development time and seemingly slow progression, that has led many to label the project a scam. Don't listen to the naysayers, they are wrong. Firstly, let's take a look at the developer themselves. Without going into specifics, Project Helius is a lone developer of the same name. It's not clear where they are located, but we believe they are possibly of Chinese origin, residing in North America. Again, that's speculation. Now, the thing that is really important to note here is that Project Helius is literally just a handful of people and not a massive or even a small studio. It's just a few dedicated programmers, artists and a project lead. With this in mind then, it is no wonder that development is slow. Reason being, no, and I mean no publishers want to invest in this type of mature game for obvious reasons. A shame, but that's how things roll. Slow development then is not unique to this project. In fact, it's mirrored across the board, especially those which are VR focused. Therefore, it's only the ignorant who expect the game to be finished on a timescale equivalent to mainstream gaming. Now, if you look at how long it took Cyberpunk 2077 to materialise from when they first showed that concept trailer, then you kind of get an idea. Development takes time, and the less people working on the game, the longer it takes. That should be blindingly obvious, but it seems some people have forgotten this or believe that game development is easy. Sure, it's easy if you use assets from a store and plonk them all together and just make it a game in that way, like some people have done. But if you're making your own game using your own models, your own artistry, then it's going to take a bit longer. Now, the other issue that rises from this is the business model employed by these developers. Usually subscription based on websites such as Patreon or itch.io. The reason why some people call the game out as a scam is because the game you pay for today is not the game that is promised, because the fully fledged game is still work in progress. Now, many will have you believe that these additional elements won't ever see the light of day as part of the scam, to entice people to part with their money. They also believe that you have to keep paying more money each month to continue having access to the latest builds. Well, sorry, but that is simply conjecture, ill-informed speculation and plain lies. For the record, we paid for the cleric tier some years back for about 30 quid. That's all we paid. And thus far we have been granted access to everything the game offers, including all the updates and 3 new characters. Now, there will come a point where if we want to unlock more characters, when they become available, we'll have to pay some more, which is pretty standard fare. Think DLC in mainstream gaming. But we still receive all the game updates, even if we don't put any more money down. That was the whole point of getting the cleric tier. So, going back to the first point then, development for any game takes ages, and Operation Lovecraft is not the exception, especially given the size of the team. There's also the issue of how well the project is being managed. Now, some might have you believe that Project Helius are sunning themselves in the Bahamas on an exotic yacht with party girls and champagne every day.
Resident Evil.
That is most likely not the case. Despite pulling in thousands of dollars every month from the community and fans alike, costs and wages can eat into the pot quite substantially, leaving very little for said party girls and champagne, and including hiring more staff. It's quite easy to sit and speculate without knowing all the facts of where or how the money is being spent. At the very least, it doesn't afford a dedicated project manager, which in itself causes other issues. Now, with a project that isn't managed very well, as it would be if a publisher invested in the project, ideas can spiral out of control. Feature creep can rear its ugly head, and the game can start biting off more than it can chew. Some believe that has already happened. So let's look at what you actually get today. If you put down the same 30 quid cleric tier as we did via the Patreon. From the get-go, we have access to past builds, including the original Fallen Doll release. We have free characters and access to the Harem mode beta on Steam. Our pledge also grants us access to the full game when it is finished, whenever that is. In the meantime, we get all of the game updates. The Harem mode is the main meat of the game at the moment, offering 2 locations to explore, the Archimedes station in space and the Erotes nightclub. The latter became part of the game at a later date at no extra cost. The Harem mode, a multiplayer light mode in itself, lets you unlock characters' outfits and has other bits planned, such as gifting to raise affinity levels. You can receive and give likes from other players, learn experiments from them and see them within the game world walking around or doing the do. The battle mode, which sees you using the experiment cards you collect in the Harem mode, is not yet implemented. Each character has a number of these cards, which offer various poses which you can place within the levels. It's a mini-game of sorts and allows you to unlock more bits. Yes, it's very grindy, but also fun to look at the highly detailed Unreal Engine 5 character models. Now, our Steam account says we've invested over 130 hours playing this game, and thus far we have 2 characters research passes to complete, having finished 4 already. In its current form, the game is worth the investment as far as we're concerned. The sheer numbers of experiments is commendable, and some of the outfit designs are top tier. The character models are also some of the best we've seen. What's more, a native VR mode is being worked on, and according to the developer today, this is apparently slowing down progression of the main game. Well, we're glad they have not abandoned VR, despite the fact the game works well using Praydog's Unreal Engine VR mod. So they could have cheaped out and just used that. But no, we're going to get a native VR mode complete with motion controls, which is brilliant. To conclude then, there are a number of online people who have jumped on the "it's a scam" bandwagon. Let me say that in a normal voice. It's a scam bandwagon regarding this game. They have made too many assumptions and relied on information from people who previously worked on the project, who might appear disgruntled or have an agenda. The bottom line is, the £30 we spent years ago has given us enough content to be happy with the purchase. You better believe it, especially after 130 hours. If you were to buy in today, you would find a very basic but fun to play experience that is perhaps lacking in features. But they will come eventually. We have no doubts about that. But how long it takes is up in the air. So in this regard, we would suggest exercising some caution before diving in. There's a free demo on Steam, but this is just a simple model viewer. The Harem mode is quite different from that and shows the game's true potential. Now, no one is being forced to continually part with cash for this. So calling it a scam is simply overkill and irrelevant. We suggest you forget the promised features, like the battle mode and the VR and whatever else has been promised, and just roll with what is available today. And just enjoy the game. You will enjoy it more if you're not thinking about what it could be, or what has been said, or what has been promised. Just focus on what is there now. When the promised features eventually make their appearance, that will be a bonus and the icing on the cake. Okay, I'm Rob Cram. Thanks for listening. We out of here.